All right. I am live here on Facebook and Instagram. Welcome, everybody, to Thoughtful Tuesdays. I'm your Lori Lauritsen, your resident therapist, yoga therapist, addiction therapist, all that fun stuff. So I'm your authority on any questions you have about mental health, addiction, essential oils, yoga. If I don't have the answer, I will get you the answer. So just giving everyone a few minutes to jump on and say hello. And then we will get started this morning, or this evening. I don't know what time it is today. That tells you how my day's been. But I'm here with you guys, so it's going to be all good. It's going to be all good. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today is mooring lines. So I posted that in my post this morning. So I'm going to talk a little bit about mooring lines. It's a metaphor. Hi, Callie. Nice to see you there. Mooring lines. So mooring lines are the lines, the ropes, the ties that keep a ship to a dock. So if you think about a ship that's connected to a dock, if it's especially if it's a big ship, if there's only one, maybe two ropes holding it to the dock, what's it likely to do? It's probably likely to move a lot. It's going to shift back and forth and get banged around, maybe damaged, or it might even break away from the dock. So I want to talk about that in terms of addiction specifically. This particular topic and the metaphor of mooring lines comes from the Matrix program for addiction treatment, which I absolutely love, and I share a lot of things from that. The 1-minute brain model that I talk about comes from that. So when we think about that in terms of addiction, we think about what are those mooring line behaviors that keep you sober? What are the things that keep you grounded, keep you stable, keep you anchored to your dock of recovery, to your dock of mental health and stability, emotionally, spiritually, all of those things, physically. So, hi Dustin, thanks for watching. So when you think about mooring lines, those are the things that are going to keep you in a good place. Part of the reason I wanted to mention that today is that I've had a couple conversations about mooring lines this week. It's, life happens. So in early sobriety, for example, in early recovery, that's the entire focus is how do I stay sober? How do I, not pick up a drink or a drug? How do I function? Just get through the day. So it's really easy to keep the focus on that in early recovery. And, in anything really, when you're really gung-ho about something, when you're really excited about taking care of yourself, like a diet, for example, you're really focused on that and you're eating all the right things, you're doing all the right things. Hi, Fran. So you're focused on that, you're doing well with it in the beginning. And as life happens, as things happen, those things can start to go to the wayside. So, those types of behaviors for recovery, for example, might be like going to a meetings, going to see a therapist, church or meditation or some type of spirituality that fits for you. Lots of different things. It might be eating, 3 square meals a day because when you were in your addiction, you drank your calories or whatever the case may be. So there's lots of different mooring line behaviors for everybody. I mean, some of them can be similar, but it's really what works for you. And sometimes that's a trial and error process. But, I was talking about that this week with a couple people who had been sober for a while and relapsed. And the unfortunate thing about it is that it can be really subtle. When you're thinking of the mooring lines, you can let one slide. Maybe I won't go to a meeting today, I'll go tomorrow. Or, I'm not going to meditate this morning, I'm too tired, I'll do it the next day, or whatever the case may be. So it's really easy to start to let them slide, and you don't notice it. If it drifts a little bit, you might not notice it, and then all of a sudden, you're drinking again, you're using again, you are depressed and can't get out of your bed, or anxious and you can't function, So, and this, a couple of people that I was talking to this week, that's kind of what happened. All of that stuff happened all at one time, or it seemed to happen all at one time, but it really took a while, and I was like, well, what are your morning line behaviors? What are the things that that help keep you sober, that help keep you safe, that help keep you stable? And, well, I'm not really doing any of those things. I'm not meditating. I'm not going to meetings. I'm not, communicating my feelings, whatever the case may be. And it's easy to see that in hindsight. So, those are, again, the morning line behaviors are those behaviors that keep you in a good place. So part of the reason, other than talking to a client who was struggling with that, is I'm going to be honest with you and share that I haven't been doing a lot of my morning line behaviors. I realized that I've had less energy. I've been more anxious about things. I've got a lot going on in my life right now, so I've been thinking too much. And those of you who know me know that I tend to overthink things. That's a blessing and a curse for me, because that's part of what makes me a good therapist. But it can also create a lot of overthinking, being hard on myself, things like that. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of some of my morning line behaviors, and then also talk about what I avoid. Because, when we talk about morning line behaviors, you also want to think about, well, what are the things that I know I need to avoid? For example, if you're trying to stay sober, it might be a good idea to avoid the bars, right? Especially if that's where you used to drink. That's a pretty obvious one. It might be avoiding eating unhealthy foods, which is actually one of my avoiding behaviors. So for me, one of the things that I noticed this week is that I really haven't been going to community yoga classes. I haven't been doing my own practice very much. And that's something that has always given me energy and support spiritually, emotionally, physically. So I know that's a morning line behavior for me. Meditating every day, sitting down and getting quiet. It's really easy to go and to do too many things. So it's really important for me to not only meditate, but to slow down and take the time to journal, to breathe, to structure my day, to structure my life, and also sometimes just let it go and not try to do too much. So, and for me, the other thing that's huge is to be in nature in some way, shape, or form. I was in the Keys this weekend, so that was really awesome. I got to spend some time in nature. But sometimes when you go on vacations, you do too many things. My Keys buddy is watching. Dustin, thanks for hanging out with me in the Keys. We had the most amazing time. But, sometimes even then, it's a vacation, so things that you normally do, your routine gets off. Things that you normally would do, you don't do. So that's important to recognize. And then when you come back, I know for me, I didn't realize how much energy I spent until I came back and I was completely exhausted. As they say, you need a vacation from your vacation, and I laugh at that, but it's true. It's important to take care of yourself and know what that is. So for me, recognizing that means that I need to take a step back and look at, where am I doing too much? Where can I slow down? And where can I be more effective and structured for myself to continue to do the things that keep me happy, safe, stable, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So, and for me, some of the things that I avoid are, again, like I said, doing too much, overthinking, right? Food that doesn't nourish me. So eating a lot of junk food, I start to just feel crappy. I start to not feel well physically, and it can affect me in a lot of ways. So for me, that's kind of a warning sign if I'm eating too much junk, or doing too many things, or thinking too much. And I will overthink like the silliest little things, like whether or not to go to the grocery store right now or to go later, and I'll overthink it. Well, maybe I have to do this, but if I go to the grocery store now, then I'm not going to have that, or I won't have creamer, or who knows, whatever kind of ridiculousness that I can overthink. And I'm sure that some of you guys can relate to that. Obviously, I overthink the big things sometimes too, but a lot of times when I really get stuck, it's over something silly. I'm like, why am I thinking so much about this? Just make a decision. So recognizing that is really important. And also paying attention to who I spend my time with and the energy. as a therapist, it's really important for me to replenish myself because I am hearing, hi Rose Trebuzio Lordson, that's my mom, you guys, say hi to my mom. Thanks for watching, Mom. I have to be mindful of who I spend my time with, because when I'm working, I'm dealing with a lot of other people's pain, and I have to be that safe container. So knowing how to let that go, knowing how to not take it home, to clear that energy, so to speak, to take care of myself and enjoy myself is really, really, really important. So those are some of the things that I do for mooring lines. So something to think about this week for Thoughtful Tuesdays. It's like a double entendre today. Thoughtful Tuesdays, I want you to think about, what are your mooring line behaviors? What are the things that make you feel the best, make you feel the most stable, in your life, in your recovery from mental health or addiction symptoms, or just in general, if you don't suffer from any of those illnesses, and if you don't, more power to you, that's amazing. But we can all, relate to some of those feelings, even if we don't have an addiction or clinical depression or anxiety. We all have those things. So think about what those mooring line behaviors are for you, what keeps you anchored, and definitely keep asking questions. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. And like I said, I really love to hear from you guys a little bit more about what your burning questions are. That was my thought today, but I want to hear your thoughts as well. So feel free to share here or anywhere else. And I'm still looking for people for my study for smoking cessation with essential oils. So if anybody knows anybody, if you have any thoughts, let me know. And I'm always here to consult on Facebook, Instagram, in my practice. Any questions you have, or any referrals, anything that I can do for you, I'm here. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Take care.